seen fights like this before. And you ask, how on earth did you do that? Well, today's your lucky day. But one question remains. Can you handle it? Alright, enough of that. Hi, I'm Mario Bro 3828, and today I'm going to show you how to make green screen fights just like those you see in my Shining Legend episodes. Alright, let's start first with what you need. First of all, you need pretty much everything mentioned in Matthew G4's tutorial. If you don't have a firm grasp of how to make Mario Machinima already, then I recommend you go watch that, or else this tutorial will be very confusing to you. Secondly, you need to know how Sony Vegas works. I'm using Sony Vegas to make the fights in this tutorial, so it should be a given that you need to know how it works. Lastly, you need a green screen ROM, or a red screen ROM, or whatever you're going to use. To make a green screen ROM, use Toadstool 64 to turn all the wall and floor textures green so you can have a green screen room. Alright, let's get started. I'm going to demonstrate how to make a green screen fight for you, but first let me show you what I'm going to make. Well, that didn't look so amazing, but for the tutorial's purpose, I made it pretty simple. Now I'm going to show you just how I made it. To start off, I usually record every character in the fight doing every move possible in one green screen. That way I can render AVIs off of that, or simply just break screenshots after that and string the animations together later. Next, you'll need a background relevant to your setting. Now, I just chose something random. I think it was from Boo's Mansion, but that's only for the tutorial. Next, begin laying the green screen animations you need for your fight in place. Delete the soundtrack it creates if there's nothing on it. Next, you need to use the chroma keyer effect to actually make the green screen work. Note the settings I use, about halfway in between for low and high threshold. This makes it so you can't see the background and Mario is not transparent. It also helps if the shade of green on your green screen is the exact same shade as the one on your recording, so use the dropper tool to match those up. Next, for each green screen you use, you'll want to create a mask inside the black border created by the game. This obviously makes it so you can move the character anywhere you want using Event Pan Crop without that stupid border showing up. Next, use Event Pan Crop to position your characters correctly. Repeat this process for every character on screen. The next step is vital to making your green screen fights look good. I'm going to show you how to string animations together so that it looks like one smooth animation and not like several chopped up animations. Drag the next animation you want to use onto a different timeline than the one you want to connect to. Then zoom in until you can see individual frames and place the first frame of the next animation even with the last frame of the last animation so you can line them up. Now, since the two frames are in line, all you have to do is use Event Pan Crop to line the two animations up and it should proceed pretty smoothly. Just make sure they're the same size or it'll look kinda unrealistic. And of course, don't forget to put the lined up animation where it should be after you're done. Again, the only reason I put it on a different track was to line up the two animations. Alright, I'm going to do the same thing with my other character Destrian now, so see if you can pick out what I'm doing this time. Here, I'm just going to let this run through to the end. If you've understood correctly so far, the rest should be pretty self-explanatory. Oh, there's one more thing I wanted to show you. There's several ways to make the characters teleport, but probably one of the simplest ways is by using the radial blur effect. So if you position the keyframes correctly, if you turn the radius up to its maximum, it should make the character fade out like he's teleporting. Here I'm using only a single frame to simulate Destrian getting hurt. I know it looks kinda cheap, but I really can't find anything better in Super Mario 64. I also like to use radial blur as a form of motion blur. So after you're done with that, render it to an AVI and apply it to your actual episode so you can add zooms and camera shakes to make it all cool looking and stuff. But yeah, that's pretty much it. That's what it takes to make a green screen fight. It's complicated and time consuming, but as you all know, the end result is pretty awesome. So yeah. Also for the sound effects, most people seem to use DBZ sound effects, so I'll tell you where to get those. Just go to ESF World Networks. Yeah, here's the URL for it. Also, if you're wondering why I didn't explain all those magical little effects I use in my fight, well, that's for you to figure out. Be creative, come up with your own effects. That's what I did. But yeah, I guess if you really want to know how I did some of them, I might do an advanced techniques video later. I don't know when, but later. And I might explain some of those effects, especially if you request them. If you want to request me to explain an effect, then just comment on this video with that. Oh yeah, and also, please make sure your fight fits the premise of your storyline. What I mean is, if your characters are normal people, then in the fight, they should not magically obtain superpowers. Like, if you want to be realistic, then don't use DBZ fights. Use something new, like something that's realistic but still awesome, like some kind of kung fu. I don't know, maybe Matrix. But yeah, don't be unrealistic.
Hey, Tom!
Hey, Frank.
What do you want to do today?
I don't know, what do you want to do today?
I want to beat the shit out of you!
How are you gonna do that? You're like half my size.
I'm a fucking Super Saiyan!